Hey everybody, it's Jordan here with Major Hi-Fi, back again with another review. And as you can see, I'm also coming to you from a new recording setup. I'm really excited about the look, and I hope you are too. So we're here today with a brand new headphone. It's the Final Audio D8000 DC Pro, and I'll take it out of the box in a second. But first, if you like what you see on this channel, definitely like and subscribe down below. It helps us make more videos just like them, and you'll get more of these right into your feed. So the Final Audio D8000 DC Pro. Well, the first thing I'll talk about is, what does DC mean? Well, Final refers to its headphone as DC, or Da Capo, which is Italian for back to the beginning. And so they really took an approach of redesigning and rebuilding this headphone from the ground up. Of course, it's got lineage from the D8000 series, as well as the D7000, which came out earlier this year. And Final really hopes that the D8000 DC Pro will really fortify their top of the line offerings. And I should note that the DC Pro comes in at about $4,799. But with that said, we'll get into how it borrows from the D7000 and D8000 lines in a second. In the meantime, let's take a look at what's in the box, or should I say, as Final calls it, the protective hard shell suitcase here. And I'm going to put it right here on the desk and open it up for you all. It's really impressive to, when you spend a lot of money on a headphone, it's really nice to see this type of layout. Look at this. I mean, this is beautiful. Let's take a look in here. We've got the headphones right here. We're going to put them, let me just close this real quick. We're going to put them on this stand. And in the box, you also get all sorts of cables. So you've got a 4.4 millimeter balance cable, as well as an even longer XLR cable. The 4.4 balance cable is 1.5 meters and the XLR is 3 meters. So XLR is a little bit longer, but what's really nice about having both of those types of cables in the package is that you can get more range out of the XLR cable when it's plugged into a full-on balanced amplifier, a desktop amplifier, anything like that. And with the 4.4, it's a little bit more portable. So if you're taking this on the go with your protective travel suitcase, and you're in a hotel and you want to do some listening on the go, it is an open back headphone, so portability isn't its prime intention, but if you want to bring it with you on a vacation or a work trip, you can definitely put it in this package. It'll be safe, it'll look really nice, and you'll have a shorter 4.4 balance cable that can work with a portable DAC amp, anything that takes 4.4 balanced. And we'll get into its power requirements in a second, but it can work with a portable DAC amp for sure. And so it's really nice to see these options come from Final. And with the power of editing, it's gone. Now let's get into the build of this headphone. So like I said, Final intended to rebuild this headphone from the ground up, but that doesn't mean that they've left behind their design philosophy that they've applied to previous D8000 models as well as the D7000. It still shares a similar look and DNA to those headphones, but as you can see, there are some modifications that give this headphone its own, more modern identity. And that starts with the silver matte finish. In your hands, you'll really quickly notice that it's really lightweight. This comes in at 431 grams, which Final notes is 120 grams lighter than the original Final D8000. So it's really light and it's really comfortable, and it's just really nice to wear. I never felt any problems on extended listening periods, and that's not just because of the weight though. It's also because of this really nice washy paper design headband and ear pads. And you'll notice the ear pads are also pretty thick, a little bit thicker than previous iterations of the D8000. This lighter material obviously helps weigh in at a lower weight, but it also makes it more comfortable. It's just a unique feel. It's not as hot and maybe sticky as leather can be, and it's not as rugged as velour. It's really nice and comfortable on the head. Long listening sessions are going to be really nice. I think when it comes to luxury headphones like this, it's not just about the sound quality, which is great, and we'll get into that in a little bit, but it's also about how it feels on your head, and this feels premium. And I'll also note with those cables that I showed you earlier, they are also really thick, really well built. I was really impressed with the cables as well. Now, as you notice, the DC Pro only comes with balanced cables, and I think that's because Final intends for you to use this balanced pretty much all the time to maximize the power. This headphone wants the juice. It's got a 50 ohm impedance with a 90 dB sensitivity. It's a planar magnetic driver. This thing is not the easiest to drive. That said, I was able to drive it with even a mid-powered portable DAC amp. So if you've got a balanced portable DAC amp that has maybe a watt of power, maybe even less than that, you can still run these to pretty nice levels. And when you get to these levels, this headphone can handle that volume really well. Final's aware of previous iterations of the D8000 having maybe a rattling sound at higher levels. They've completely reconfigured it so that problem's gone and that this headphone can perform really well at high listening levels. Now, as mentioned, the DC Pro continues Final's use of planar magnetic drivers in its high-end headphones, but the headphone also incorporates a new air film dampening system. This is incorporated into the driver design to improve transient response and reduce distortion. And to that end, they've also re-engineered the acoustic chambers of the headphone for the same reasons, to improve transient response, reduce distortion, and overall improve the sound quality of the headphone. So as you can see, Final has taken steps to rethink the way they've built this headphone internally and externally. But what does that all mean for the sound? How does it sound? That's the most important part. Well, we'll get into it right now. All right, so let's get into the sound impressions on the DC Pro, and as always, we'll start with the bass response. I would describe the bass on this headphone as rich and textured and tasteful. It's not the most bombastic bass, and as you'll see, this headphone is on the more relaxed side. Now, that doesn't mean there isn't a sense of dynamics. There's, again, really good transient response and a really good sense of punch and slam. It's just not going to beat you over the head with those factors. But for people that want that really engaging and fun sound, this headphone is capable of doing that at higher listening levels. As I said, Final did want this to be a listen to it loud type of headphone, and I think that's how you get the best bass experience. Overall, I really enjoyed how the bass sounded on this headphone. Again, it's not in your face, it's not blunt force bass response, but it is really engaging. It's really nice to listen to. The sub bass has a really nice sense of heft to it, but it doesn't get in the way of what's really the star of the show, which is that mid bass that, again, it has that milky, creamy type of tone to it. It's really musical and it's really relaxing, like I said. It's just nice to sit down and listen to. Getting into the mid range, things are pretty neutral here. It does lean warm again because of that mid bass, and that does extend into the lower mids. But vocals are really clear and neutral and clean. And overall, I was really impressed with the tonality and timbre of the mid range. And while it's not too assertive with its detail retrieval, it also has plenty of information in the mid-range. But as we'll talk about in the treble as well, this headphone presents detail in a way that's really pleasurable. It's not going to feel analytical in any way, so sometimes you might find yourself just falling back and listening to the song. And that's the point of headphones. That's why we get into audio, is to enjoy music. And so I think this headphone is a really great lens into enjoying your music at a higher level. And that takes us to the top end, which is maybe the most unique part of the sound signature of this headphone. It has a nice, cool timbre to it that contrasts with the mid-range and bass in a way that sounds really engaging. Sometimes headphones that go for this type of sound can sound incoherent or nasally, but this headphone just gets it right. It's a nice balance. And the treble can really act as almost a chameleon. It can lay itself back on tracks that don't need it so much. But on other tracks that have a lot of cymbals or a lot of top end energy, it can rise to the challenge. And so all these factors bring a holistic sound signature to the headphone. It covers a lot of bases. It's got a warm and lush lower mid-range and a brighter and more engaging top end. And that's all timbrally speaking. So the actual frequency response feels pretty balanced overall, although maybe there is a slight V-shape due to those timbral qualities. Finally, getting into the soundstage on the DC Pro, it's just so wide. Things are imaged and spaced out expansively. Maybe if I had to nitpick, I would say that the imaging goes more for sheer width rather than truly precise image localization. But overall, that's nitpicking. You know, it's wide, it's expansive, it's engulfing, it's entrancing. I'm just coming up with adjectives. The point is, the soundstage is really nice, really well done. It's exactly what you want out of an open back luxury headphone. Something that's special, something that just literally and figuratively pushes the boundaries a little bit further. And so with all that said, I think you know how I feel about this headphone. Here at Major Hi-Fi, we're going to give this Major Hi-Fi Gold. It's really an impressive top-of-the-line headphone. It has everything we want out of high-end. This headphone covers a lot of bases. It's giving you something entirely new while sticking with a traditional design. It's got brand new, reconfigured engineering, and the sound is just spectacular. So if you're interested in a headphone like this, definitely give it a try. I think it's going to be really enjoyable to a lot of listeners. So that just about does it for this review. If you liked what you saw and heard, definitely like and subscribe down below. Like I said, it helps us make more videos like this in the future, and it'll help you get them right into your feed. Thanks for watching.